Two trucks having sex. Two trucks having sex. My muscles involuntarily flex. Two trucks having sex. Two trucks having sex. My muscles involuntarily flex. Two pickup trucks making love. American made.
Listen up, Autobots and Decepticons. You're listening to Prime Cuts, a nonlinear history of the Transformers franchise on television. I'm one of your hosts, Nero.
I'm your other host, Audrey.
And we continue to be subjected to Transformers Energon this week.
Regrettably, there's another episode of this.
Some guys come back. Hey, David Kaye is back. It's always nice to hear David Kaye, isn't it? He's got a great voice.
It's literally the only bright moments of these episodes, in my opinion. Some of the dub lines, in particularly in episode 7.
Shockingly, some things actually happened this week, which is a rare treat for us watching Transformers Energon. So I'm gonna get us started with I have this time, instead of getting off the dome, I have pre-written some summaries. Just to really expedite the process here. So starting with episode 6, Megatron Resurrected, or in Superlink, Resurrection Galvatron. Because, okay, so first off, yes, he is Galvatron in Superlink now, but he wasn't in Micron Legend. But he's back to Megatron in the English dub after being Galvatron at the end of Armada. I will, for simplicity's sake, I will be referring to him as Megatron. So, episode 6.
Nothing about this process is simple.
No. All of
this is really a show that begs the question, can nothing be easy?
And the answer is absolutely fucking not. All of the Cybertron cities on Earth have been fitted with turret defenses, and Alpha Q's army is getting their asses kicked. Scorponok is forced to run home with his tail between his legs, where he receives even more bad news. Megatron has secretly been alive and aware this whole time, and has been siphoning off Unicron to rebuild his body. He busts out of the wall and instantly beats Scorponok within an inch of his life before going for Alpha Q. Alpha Q hits the bricks and jettisons Unicron's head to serve as his new base, leaving Megatron in control of Scorponok and his Terrorcon army. Megatron instantly launches a raid on Plains City, where Hotshot is stationed. By the time the rest of the Autobots get there, Megatron has torn Hotshot's arm off and nearly killed him, and he taunts Optimus with it. To be continued.
It's actually really remarkable that Hotshot survived that.
It's a good thing they put him in the big bath right after that. Should I shoot through these other two, or we want to take these? I think we should take these episode by episode.
Let's take it one at a time.
So, yeah, it seems as though Alpha Q was sort of woefully unprepared for the simple act of putting some anti-air guns up.
Alpha Q seems to be woefully unprepared to even move, as they've given up on animating him.
Yeah, so he has to run at one point in these episodes, and he does. I don't really understand how his locomotion works.
So, he's like a third completely new type of animation in this show that is already combining 2D animation with, like, 3D scan.
What if
CGI?
They should have animated him via stop motion. That would have been good.
I mean, he actually looks like something out of, like, Beast Wars.
That's true. He's got the weird texture. You're right. Like
he is computer generated, but like an entirely. Maybe it's because they didn't have a toy for him.
I think there is an Alpha Q toy.
They couldn't scan a toy in, but he is animated in a completely different style than the rest of the show. It looks like dog shit. And that's when he is animated, for the record, because when it's just like him talking, it's just close-ups of his face that flip back and forth.
Yeah, it's just like the classic Quintesson, like, three faces stuff.
Yeah, it's not, well, it's actually 4 faces in the dub. But they're not actually animated. Like, it's cut off above his mouth, so you don't, it's just a screen of his face that flips between the different faces. It's not animation.
Yeah. It is the texture that makes him look like a Beast Wars character. Because, yeah, you're right. I don't know if they just scanned the toys in or if they just based these models entirely off of the toys. I think it's probably the latter.
Either way, though,
Alpha Q
like,
did have a toy, but I don't know if it was made yet. I don't know if it was like designed yet.
he looks distinctly different and bad. He looks bad. Like, imagine if you put Cheetor in this. He would look bad. This guy looks bad. I hate looking at him.
But it's like, so Beast Wars characters are all really shiny, right? Like, I think they're either very sort of flat, like when they're beast modes, or if their robot parts are very, very shiny. Alpha Q
this
is
guy's
like
flat.
He's got a weird. I don't know how to describe his texture. I'd feel like if you touched him, he'd feel like fucking velvet or something.
Here's what I will say about the way he's animated. He looks like something out of Beast Wars, like I said, or something out of Reboot, or something out of any of these mid-90s shows. But regardless of which one you choose, it is like at least 5 years too late for him to be looking like this and this technology.
Yeah, and he moves, but he's got like he's got like a appendage at the end of his tail that just kind of spins around when he moves, and he wiggles a lot. It's very undignified.
Yeah. Also, talking about characters who are now animated from completely other shows, Kicker goes Super Saiyan now.
Yeah, well, he always did that briefly when he senses delicious energy.
Never noticed
his
before.
His hair glows yellow very briefly whenever something Energon related is going on. Maybe they forgot to animate that in the dub, though. It's entirely possible if we remember some of the unfinished animation in Armada.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean this is the big return. We have Megatron back. I think out of all of the redesigns, partially because Megatron doesn't have to worry about combining with anyone or anything else, his Energon design looks okay to me. I definitely still like his Armada design better, but like,
I don't hate it.
It's definitely a lot better. It's obviously very Galvatron inspired, which is why he has the name in it in Super Link. I like the big twin shoulder cannons. I like his alternate mode. I actually had the like the big Megatron toy when I was a kid for Transformers Energon.
I like that he, as the big bad again, is so clean and white.
Yeah.
I'm always really excited to see like villains coated in like very bright white or like very light colors. We don't see that a lot, and I find that visually interesting when it does happen. So his design, especially compared to like everyone else in design in the show, he's also not overcomplicated. He's not like overly greebled.
Yeah, he is actually like fucking man. There's some shots of Optimus in episode 8 where I just like remembered he's just so fucking thick that he can barely like hold his arms at his sides because he's just a big rectangle for other things to bolt onto. And Megatron, meanwhile, he does have a much cleaner silhouette. He's got a much cleaner, like, his face isn't all weird, right? Like, he just looks nice.
Yeah, like, when I say clean, I mean, like, both in terms of, like, color and simplicity of design. And that, in this show, when you have character designs like fucking Ironhide, is a blessing, not a curse.
We get to see a full stock footage power linking this episode, and I just remembered how fugly all of the Autobots look when they're combined. Oh man, and you can see, I just noticed this week that you can see the fucking like hands on Ironhide's heels that come out when he turns into a shirt.
Yeah.
Awful, terrible,
hideous. The designs are so bad in this show that they're giving me robot face blindness. I can't recognize who anyone is in this show. I'm like, this sucks. Who is that?
Yeah, absolutely. We get I mean, what else happened? Most of our time this episode is spent with the fucking Decepticons, which is a change. Oh, Scorponok gets fucking owned. That's what happens.
Yeah. I mean, most of the rest of my notes are literally just quotes that I genuinely enjoyed from the latter half of this episode. The one thing I will say, which I mentioned to Nero before we started recording, is that this episode gave us the first really cool shot of the series and then immediately ruined it. So it is the shot of like Megatron coming back to life, and he like bursts out the rock, and it's a really cool shot, and his lips are just so dusty and chapped. I want to go in there with my lip balm.
Yeah, it's okay.
Just moisturize those things.
So like
It's awful.
We get Megatron coming out of the wall. It's like burst of light. He's here, but they wanted him to be like scowling when he comes out of the wall, and obviously these models can't do that. We know this. We've seen what that mouth do, and it's
These
not
models
much.
are made of 5 whole polygons.
So what the solution that they came to was fucking drawing a 2D animated mouth over Megatron's 3D model, and it looks terrible.
It looks like something out of Kablam
It
or
does.
Robot Chicken.
It looks a fucking Clutch Cargo ass moment where he just like has like lips and the mouth animated on the twos, and everything else is the weird smooth CG.
Annoying orange ass looking ass.
So that was the bad 3D model moment. Good 3D model moment. Scorponok ate a bee.
Yeah. I'm sort of impressed with how they were able to stretch their given that I know what models they're working off of here. I was surprised that they had the capability to stretch their model for Scorponok to account for those injuries.
Absolutely. So this
please.
Yeah, this sort of is the first status quo shift, right? Where we have Megatron is back. He's taken full control of the Terracon armies, and he's going to be the main threat, with Alpha Q doing like weird bullshit over here. Is this the episode where he I think this is like the first. No, it's the next episode where he brings back Starscream's ghost.
Yes, it's next episode.
This time he just runs away.
Yeah, because he runs away. Like, he literally next episode starts with him being like, "Damn, that sucked.
Damn, I lost everything."
What is the antibiotic for Megatron? And they're like, Starscream?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. What were some lines that you wrote down from the dub?
Okay. My first one is early on in the episode, when the Terracons are attacking, Kicker wrangles one of them to go find the Energon faster.
Yeah, oh yeah, he does. I forgot about he like lassos a battle ravage to like look for Energon.
Yeah, and all the Omnicons are like, damn, why don't we think of that? And like, admittedly, this is probably the first good idea Kicker has had. But the line, so he's fighting with Optimus, and the line Optimus has when he leaves is, "I wonder why Kicker left me here alone to defend myself." Which is just so funny.
Yeah, why did he fuck off and leave me here? Oh well.
And then, like, all the other ones are from, like, the fight with Scorponok at the end and everything. Megatron comes up and Scorponok's like, "Hey, what the fuck are you assholes doing down here to Tidal Wave and Cyclonus?" And Megatron's like, "Hey, sup?" And Scorponok's like, "Hey, I'm gonna kill you now." And Megatron's like, "You can try." And Scorponok does, and Megatron immediately beats his ass, and Cyclonus just goes, "Sweet."
There's a bit early on in the episode when after Tidal Wave, Scorponok, and Cyclonus have been fucking blasted away by Ocean City's defenses, when Tidal Wave and Cyclonus are like, "Man, Megatron's never gonna fucking get revived if we can't get enough Energon." And Cyclonus like, "Well, look at him, he's fucking dead as shit." And he punches him, and you just hear Megatron's voice go,
Don't do that again.
Don't do that again. And Cyclonus goes, "What the fuck?" And he thinks it's Tidal
Wave. And then he does it again, and Megatron's like, "I told you, stop it."
Cut it out. Very funny. Yeah, like, the fact, like, Do you think he was awake this whole time, or was it just recently?
I think it was just recently.
Yeah, because he got a little bit of that Energon in him.
Yeah, he needed to get that good in him. So the
He's
last
like a
ones
fucking
are like,
tapeworm inside of Unicron.
yeah, I mean, yeah. He's the worm that ate RFK Jr.'s brain.
Unicron says that they had a worm in his brain, but don't worry, it's dead.
But yeah, it got killed from all the mercury from all the canned tuna he eats. At the end of the fight, Scorponok is like, "Hey, what if you didn't kill me?" And Megatron's like, "Hey, what if I did though?"
He really goes to town on Scorponok. He fucking beats the shit out of him.
And at the end of it, he was like, "Listen, I understand why you're mad, but I wasn't the one who manipulated you. That was Alpha Q, who's trying to bring back Unicron." And Cyclonus, who's been trying this entire time to be like, "All right, Megatron, I think he gets the message. Oh God, you're really gonna beat him to death. Please stop." Is like, it's true, Lord Megatron. Like, there's this creep with like 4 heads, and Megatron immediately turns to him and goes, "How can I believe you, Cyclonus, when you literally kicked me when I was down?"
Pretty good. There's one listed on the wiki that I really like, which is immediately after he comes back and he sees Scorponok using his sword, Megatron says, "Who is this one who dares to use my power? Tell me." And Scorponok says, "I didn't think you'd notice. You seemed a bit distracted."
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. I can't remember what it is. They're all talking about. I can't remember if they're talking about the Autobots or Unicron at this point. At the end, I think it's Unicron.
Yeah.
I think it's about Megatron being like, "I'm gonna go kill Unicron," and
he wants to like bring him back and like leash him. He wants to like take control of Unicron.
Yeah. And Cyclonus is pointing out some of the issues with that plan, and he just goes, "Do me a favor and shut up, Cyclonus. We're gonna show that pathetic Alpha Clueless who's really in charge."
Got him.
Got him.
Got his ass.
That's it. Those are literally all the rest of my notes for this episode.
So a couple of the things I didn't mention Kicker and Misha's weird little thing at the beginning here, where like Misha kind of flirts with him and he gets really embarrassed or whatever.
I think she wants to fuck his dad.
That is how it comes off in the dub for sure. Because they're talking about his dad, like all of these guns his dad thing brought out, but like in Super Link she's like, "I'll fight hard for love" or whatever, and it's very clear that she's like talking about him. But in Energon it's more like, I worry about you just like your dad does or whatever. It's like, I'm gonna go fuck your dad. It's all very
she's
unclear.
Like, "Your dad's my hero. He taught me everything I knew." I know. Like, he's so smart. He's the smartest man on Earth.
Yeah, because for some reason Kicker's mauling about his dad installing all these fucking defenses. He's like, "Oh, my dad sucks. He's always putting in anti-air cannons."
He's always putting in anti-air cannons and introducing me to Transformers.
The hell's your fucking
when I'm
problem?
a child and awakening ancient powers in me.
Then there's a very funny one. So in Super Link, Hotshot is completely silent in this episode, but he grunts a little bit when he's being tossed around in Energon, presumably so the children at home don't think he's fucking dead. He looks pretty dead, though.
I really was shocked that he wasn't dead. He's I mean, his arm is gray.
Yeah.
And he's mostly gray. Like, he has started to gray out.
Also, there's a scene where Megatron forces Scorponok to call him Galvatron Sama in the sub after stamping on his face. So I'm sure that did something for somebody.
I can't remember the exact phrasing of it, but there is a very funny line at the end of this episode where they're all planning to go off and like fight Unicron, like they're gonna kill God, and Scorponok's like, I'm not going, and Megatron's like, "Yes, you are." Like, I disagree. It's like, you don't have a choice here.
Yep. All right, so picking up where we left off with episode 7, which is Megatron Raid or Destron Raid in Superlink. Optimus instantly figures out that Megatron is out to revive and control Unicron. Megatron tells him that his iconic sword is so cool and strong that the Autobots don't stand a chance, but decides to leave Optimus and the others alive because it's not the right time for a cool fight. Alpha Q, salty about having his entire army stolen, reaches into hell and yanks Starscream's gay ass right out of there in order to turn him into some kind of specter and kill Optimus for him. Hotshot gets put in a Bacta-tank. The Omnicons work on mass-producing copies of Megatron's sword, while Jetfire gives Kicker some exposition about them. Megatron gets an evil Energon star from a cat. Then he decides to attack again. A space bridge opens near Ocean City, but when Jetfire goes to investigate, Starscream's ghost cold clocks him. Then the Decepticons invade from a second space bridge, and all that inner turmoil Demolisher has been feeling comes to a head when Megatron himself lands in a sexy new body and asks him to open the door. Ironhide tries to keep Demolisher on side, but he's just too good of a Decepticon and blasts the door down, letting the Terracons inside. All seems lost until Hotshot gets out of his bath, and Kicker and the Omnicons pass around the fake Energon swords, allowing the Autobots to turn the tide. Megatron escapes, taking Demolisher with him. Well, bye, Demolisher.
Yeah, I assume this is the last time we see anything interesting with.
No,
Demolisher.
there's still a bit more. It takes a little bit for them to decide that actually his character arc is stupid and gay. There's a lot going on here. For this, first of all, this is our first Starscream. Starscream's back. He looks like shit. Now that you can really see what he looks like in these episodes, really, because he's always, that picture, that like screen grab from Star Wars Episode 1 where it looks like Palpatine is like stacked because the hologram is like futzing around or whatever. That's what Starscream looks like.
No, I've only seen the big naturals edits.
What even happens? All right, so number one, I don't really understand. Okay, so the sword. We have to talk about the sword.
Okay, let's talk about the sword.
Why the fuck can they just make versions of the sword that seem to be just as strong as the other versions of as the original version of the sword?
I mean, it's really funny. I mean, the amount of time where it's just like, first of all, like Cyclonus is like, we can't fight the Autobots, we're wildly outnumbered, and Megatron's like, not with my iconic sword, we're not. It's like, what? Okay.
It makes no damn sense. Not a lick of damn sense, Megatron.
And then, like, literally the fighting, like, once the Omnicons introduce all these mass-produced iconic swords, like, the entire thing devolves into playground, my sword has infinity plus 1 power.
Literally.
Like, fighting.
Everybody's running around with this sword. By the way, the colors on this sword are just so crazy. Like all these different character models holding the sword make it clash so hard. Yeah, I mean the Omnicons. We get some actual lore about the Omnicons here
in like the most racist way possible, by the way. So
really?
This is all coming. This is. I mean, not really. I took it this way, but like. It's not put this way in the dub, to be fair to the dub, but like the way Skyfire speaks about them is that they're like an entirely different race, and he's like, man, I wish I was like the noble savage Omnicron who knows his place in the world.
It's like in the Superlink, it's more like they seem more like they're a nomadic like subgroup of Transformers that I guess are technically unaligned, but they're all Autobots, so I don't know how that works. I also don't know why all of them look like the same 3 guys.
Yeah.
I don't think that's ever explained.
He's like, look at them doing what they love the most in the world, manual labor. We don't need to examine this at all.
They're like, they almost come off as like dwarves, or I guess like fantasy dwarves.
They come off as like almost like automatons to me by like Skyfire's description, where it's like, no, they love this.
They just love finding Energon and working with Energon and making cool swords.
Which like maybe is true, but also if that is true, that's like fucked up as well.
They love Energon. No, it's fine. They love it. So now we know what Signal Flare was talking about when he scanned Scorponok to clone him. But importantly, he did that to a sword so he can make more of them. What was he planning to do by scanning Scorponok? What was he up to? What is Signal Flare doing in the basement?
I assume we'll never know. Because I'm assuming it's never going to come up again.
You're right. That line is just never brought up again. That's just something that Signal Flare can do. He can just scan things. Demolisher. Demolisher gets some good ass scenes in this episode. He's actually a real character.
Yippee!
There's a shot where it's raining during the battle, and like it looks like, you know, the rain is collecting on his face, so it looks like he's crying when he's talking to Megatron.
Release your inhibition.
I also like his conversation with Megatron, where Megatron's like, you know, you gotta decide if I am your enemy, then fucking shoot me. I like where he's like,
shoot me. Yeah, shoot me.
He's like, hold
fucking
your
shoot
hands
me.
out. He's like, hold your hands out to me, Demolisher, because his hands are guns. And then he goes, okay, man, shoot me. If you like, make a choice. But he chooses to betray the Autobots, and Ironhide's real sad about it.
They won't love you like I love you. Wait.
Starscream. He's back. Well, and also, he's not named in either of these episodes, but the next episode names him.
Oh, he's named immediately in Energon.
Interesting. Yeah, Alpha Q
they're
does not
like,
say his name.
They're like, close enough. Welcome back to the world, Starscream.
Yeah. For some reason, he's Night Scream now in Energon. I don't know why. But yeah, his actual name is never said aloud, but it's in the title of the next episode, so that's how we know it's him. This design...
to be clear, it's Alpha Q who's naming him.
Yes, he's like, Starscream.
Because no one else can recognize his ugly ass, because it's fucking ugly.
Oh, man, talk about a fucking downgrade in design. Like, okay, let's go over this, because we see it clearly for the first time next episode, pretty much. Like I said, it's really hard to figure out what's going on here, but okay. So the one aspect I kind of like is like the weird scarring he has on his face. I think that's kind of a cool detail.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's fine.
Everything else is not very good. Like Armada Starscream, I think, has such a strong silhouette, and this one, I don't know. There's just something about it. It's like it has.
They massacred my boy.
They did. The colors, I think, are the main ones. Like, I don't like these colors. It's like black. It's like very washed out black and red and green. It really is not Starscream colors at all. He's got the sword, I guess. Like, he doesn't look like himself. He looks like some fucking guy. Let's see. Is anything else of note happen here? I know that in the dub, there's a lot of added dialogue that they like to do.
I had to admit I was starting to check out by this point.
Yeah, apparently they added some. This is like the second time in a row the dub has added in Inferno narrating something in the opening, because he does not do that in Superlink.
Inferno, by the way, who has the most generic voice on God's green earth.
Oh my god, it's the same in Superlink. He's just some guy. He's just a fucking dude.
I was like, oh my god, not even her voices have any character. Why? Why am I here? Why am I here? Just to suffer? Every day I watch Energon.
They added in a bunch of. They add like a little inner monologue to Demolisher while he's standing guard and the bird lands on his head. Which I like that shot. That's a cute shot. Little bird. But yeah, not like other than Megatron and Demolisher's big thing, not a lot fucking happens here. We get more. I still can never get over how fucking ugly Super Optimus looks in this show.
You don't like him? You don't like the way that looks? You don't like the way that looks?
It's just all fucking, you know how like Megatron has a clean silhouette, Super Optimus absolutely fucking does not. He's just too fucking chunky.
Well, it's good because that's why they added things to him. They had to make him chunkier.
Yeah, like I've been saying, the Autobots, like, being beholden design-wise to combining with each other and other things really makes their design suffer a lot. Like a lot. There's some Decepticons who I think look much nicer later in the show, but basically every Autobot has very similar problems in their design where they're all weirdly spindly. Except for the ones who don't combine with anybody else, but instead combine with like drones and stuff, like Optimus, because all of those guys are just refrigerators.
Yes. So they can turn into pants.
So they can turn in. Well, no. So they can have gloves and shoes on. No, the guys who turn into pants all have. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, we get like the Omnicons are very weird. I don't really get what's going on with the Omnicons yet.
They're a manual labor race, and you don't have to examine that at all.
Nope, it's fine. If there's nothing else, then I suppose we can get right on to episode 8. Unless you had any notes from any dub notes.
No, I'm good. Thank you, though.
All right. Episode 8, Starscream the Mysterious Mercenary, or in Superlink, Nightscream the Mysterious Assassin.
Great.
Kicker is chasing the ghost of Starscream using his Energon sensing abilities around as he tries to kill Optimus on Alpha Q's orders. He and Ironhide manage to stop Starscream from getting the drop on Prime. Afterwards, everyone is very worried about Prime being left on his own and vulnerable and volunteer to protect him, but he orders them to stick to their usual posts. They ignore this order, very poorly tailing him as he walks around the base. Eventually, Starscream strikes again, with all of Team Prime attempting to take him down. Optimus instead opens a space bridge to Lunar City, hoping to draw Starscream out into the open and duel him one-on-one. The rest of Team Prime follow, and soon Megatron and his Terracons arrive. Apparently, Scorponok has told them that Optimus would be on the moon, but Cyclonus is skeptical. We also see Scorponok and Demolisher hanging out, with Scorponok trying to bond over being the untrusted new guy, with which Demolisher seems entirely uninterested in. As the rest of the Autobots focus on holding off the Terracons, Kicker and Skyblast go looking for Optimus, who is managing to hold off Starscream. However, Megatron's interference distracts him long enough for Starscream to land the finishing blow. Megatron flies off to chase Starscream's ghost, and Skyblast pumps the dying Optimus so full of Energon that he spontaneously generates a gun, which both shows have very weird explanations for. He uses the Matrix Blaster to Matrix Blast Megatron, and thanks Kicker for reviving him, promising that he's going to take his mysterious assassin down. Please tell me what the explanation is for the gun in Energon.
Do not
because
remember.
It's insane.
Sorry.
Well, you don't remember? Well, let me tell you what the explanation is.
Or rather, I was not paying attention.
Let me tell you what it is, because it makes no fucking sense. So they pump Optimus full of Energon because he died. When he comes back, and his chest opens up and a gun pops out of it, and what he says is, Wait, this is Hotshot's blaster. He must be lending it to me. This is a gun that Hotshot has never used. It's much like Megatron's iconic sword, where I don't know why they said it like that.
No, it's good.
Also, this is the second time all of his stupid fucking drones have been blown up. I think they should stay blown up, so I'll stop having to look at his super mode.
Well, they'll be fixed by the next time, as you know, so.
That's right. Fucking Dr. Jones has like a whole warehouse full of those things.
They're not sentient, it's fine.
Yeah, no, it's fine. They are just cars. So the dub appears to have really shat the bed in this episode, unsurprisingly. Other than the Hotshot other than the Hotshot's blaster line, which is just I don't understand how that happened. By the way, in Superlink, it's like the Matrix has gifted the spirits of past Autobot commanders have gifted me this gun. It's like, all right, man.
I mean, I will take that over.
That one makes way more sense over.
Shots.
Is this Hotshot's blaster? It's like, no, it's not. What are you talking about?
His famous blaster, which lives in your chest.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
Yeah, it just, you take a lot of drugs and then a gun pops out of your chest and you shoot your enemy with it. That's how it works. There's some unfinished animation in this episode, apparently, in Energon. Always good to see.
Oh, is there? Oh, is there?
Nothing quite as outrageous as some of the stuff that happened in Armada. It's mostly just like they forgot to add some backgrounds in some shots and laser fire in other shots. It's not quite as like the Jet Optimus combination in Armada was insane. Like some wild shit happened there. I don't know how they shipped that
Color
shit
me
out.
shocked.
So yeah, you were. So another thing you notice, you know what you said. No one recognizes Starscream, which is almost true in Superlink. Nobody knows who it is, but Megatron recognizes him at the end and chases when he chases after him. He immediately knows who it is.
Well, they're all Spider-Man pointing at each other. By the way, it's really fun. This is actually really funny because like Starscream and Optimus are fighting, and then Megatron's like, "Cool, I can kill Optimus now," and immediately slams him to the ground.
Yes, and then from behind, like over his shoulder, Starscream shoots at Megatron and goes, "What the fuck was that?"
Yeah, it's a little battle royale, which is very funny,
Yes.
actually.
Yes. So another thing that gets garbled by the dub. Scorponok, as I mentioned in the summary, Scorponok has leaked information to the Decepticons about Optimus being on the moon, obviously because he's still secretly working for Alpha Q, who is controlling Starscream and thus knows exactly where Optimus is. In the dub, they somehow they say that the Autobots, like the Decepticons, know that the Autobots have located Prime. Like, there's just no explanation for why the Decepticons are even here in Energon.
Oh, you know.
But they did keep the line where Megatron says Scorponok will pay for this, which makes no sense in Energon because this has nothing to do with Scorponok in the dub.
Right.
Great stuff, gang. Incredible stuff. Talk about the fucking
It's a bad show.
the fact that a kicker just uses the Energon saber like a hoverboard.
I think we did last time, actually.
I'm still unclear on if the I don't think it's actually the Star Saber. It just looks exactly like it, but it's not. And also, mostly it's used as a hoverboard. So I'm just so confused by this thing's fucking presence. Oh, there's a very funny line towards the beginning of this episode where the fucking Autobots are all looking at Kicker riding around on his bike. And I think Inferno goes, "Oh, that's just Kicker riding his bike around. He likes to blow off steam." Doing
Oh, right.
that. And Ironhide
right.
goes, "But he's riding it different." I know how he rides his bike, and he's doing it different. There's something
He's being
wrong.
angry about it.
He's riding. He's wearing his helmet, so you can't see his face. But somehow Ironhide just knows. They're simpatico like that. They're partners.
Yep. Simpatico, a term that has no larger meaning in this franchise.
Nope. No, absolutely not.
We're saying they're fucking.
No, please.
If you know, you know.
Please. Nobody would want to fuck Energon Ironhide. Look at him.
Well, I think Kicker might.
Well.
If you were the last man on Earth.
So, yeah, we get
Making
some more
a fucking, like, marriage vow if they're not both married by 40. Or whatever.
I hope this fanfiction doesn't exist. This is not
I
an
don't think
invitation
I would
to
be-
any of our... None of our listeners should write that fanfiction, by the way. I don't want to fucking see it. I know you people out there talking about how Ironhide is Moe. No. Don't do it. Don't do it. Anyway, there's another funny line when we cut back to Scorponok and Demolisher, where Scorponok's like, "Oh, hey man, I guess they treat you like shit too, huh?" And Demolisher's like, "Don't talk to me, bro. You're just some guy." And Scorponok says, "Well, it makes sense that they not really trust you and leave you here on guard duty. I mean, literally yesterday you were working for the enemy."
So, I want to tell you something very fun here.
What is that?
Which is that, as far as I can tell, there is no specific Transformers Energon fanfiction
You know what?
on
That's
AO3. There's
that's
Armada
beautiful.
and there's Unicron Trilogy.
That's beautiful. There shouldn't
But
be
I
any
am
Energon
not-
fanfiction. There being Energon fanfiction would mean that there are Energon fans, and I don't think that's true.
Let's see. Additional fandoms. Let me see here. Unicon, Armada, all media types, Cybertron. Oh, wait, no, there are 47 Transformers Energon fanfictions.
Oh, God.
Let me see what these are.
Yeah, what the hell are people writing about? I'm very curious.
Okay.
Wait, what? What is it?
The first one is Highwire Rad.
Sometimes I forget Highwire's even in the show. Like we said, he's usually just Kicker's fucking bike.
Yeah. The second one is Sally Misha.
Wow.
So not fucking his dad, but fucking his sister, which is almost as good.
Wow.
Then there's some Megatron, Starscream. Then there's some
Obviously.
Alexis and Starscream.
Oh, you gotta get that angst in there. I mean, what's funny enough is that, like, I'll tell everyone right now about because I posted in the asks and like the questions thing about the abort, throwing a character arc in the trash to sell more toys, and that hasn't happened to Starscream yet, but it will, because Megatron eventually gets his hands on Starscream and brainwashes him into being perfectly loyal, and like they don't have that dynamic in the show. Like, Starscream is ride or die for Megatron. It's so fucked up. That should never happen.
The earliest ones, which are from 2013, are all Russian.
What the hell's going on over there?
By the same author. The first one is Hot Shot Sideswipe. Then we have an explicit Galvatron's Night Scream.
Wait, Sideswipe isn't even in this show.
What do you want me to tell you, dude? Then we have an explicit Optimus Megatron, and a rated T Rodimus Hotshot.
That makes sense. There will be a Rodimus later. Yeah, well, I guess we did learn something today, and that somehow there are people out there writing Transformers Energon fanfiction.
What is most alarming about this is that the number seems to have increased, as a third of them have been written in the last 2 years of these 47 works.
What?
Yeah.
How did that happen? 13
of them have been written since this beginning of 2022.
Oh no! So that's sinister. Something sinister is going on in the background of like our reality. Fucking Transformers Energon is proliferating.
Yeah, the 10 most recent ones were almost all okay. It was I was exaggerating. It's like, oh, sorry, I it's more than that. It's 23 were written since the start of 2022 out of 47.
Holy shit! That is like almost like literally half.
Yeah.
What is going on?
So
maybe it's like
a little distressing.
Are there people like going back to it for like nostalgia reasons? I don't really understand how this is even occurring. But you know what?
The pandemic brain.
Yeah, this is one of the symptoms of long COVID is writing Transformers Energon fanfiction.
Oh boy.
Does anything else happen in this fucking episode? I don't think so. The Jetfire and Ironhide have a stock footage power linking segment. And God, all of the power links Autobots look like absolute dog ass.
I love having fun. This is good to me.
Like, okay, Jetfire mostly looks fine as a shirt, right? Like he kind of folds up.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
In any form except as like his truck form, Ironhide looks like shit.
Yeah, he's really hard. Like,
it's like it's
to
all right.
process.
So it's like, yeah, you get like, all right, here's like a pretty clean Jetfire silhouette torso from like the waist up, and then you get down to the lower legs and it just becomes fucking Greeble City. There's so many things hanging off of Ironhide that it's impossible to parse.
There's kind of like an SCP element to it, where it's like you can't look directly at Ironhide.
Yeah, there's just so much shit hanging off of him at all times. It's just like, oh god, he's got too many fucking guns. Is the problem? It's just like we say, they're just everybody's over Greebled. But yes, I think that'll be it for our episodes. Nice to have Megatron back. Good to see you. Starscream, I wish you looked cool. Unfortunately, you look
I
like
wish you
dog
looked
shit.
like even moderately okay.
Yeah, I wish you had like. I wish. I wish.
I actually
wish...
don't need him to look cool. I need him to not look like absolute dog
Yeah,
shit.
you need him to look normal.
Yeah.
Like if the baseline minimum looked normal, and this show failed.
Swing and a miss, as we say.
I also had the Starscream toys again. I had a fair few Energon toys as a kid, but both Armada and Cybertron have way cooler toy lines. So fuck you, Transformers Energon. All right, let us get into some fucking questions here. We've got quite a few of them. I can't believe some people are watching this along with us.
I can't believe people are watching ahead. You people are sick.
Yeah,
People are sick.
Fucking some people are watching ahead. I was like, you are watching more Energon than is required of you that week?
I hope you just heard Fig agree with me, by the way, that you people are sick.
I heard Fig got a high score at his weigh-in.
Not quite a high score. 0.2 pounds lower than his highest, but over 17.
Fucking chunky boy. How about you take us through some Discord questions? We don't have any on Twitter.
Sure. From Shorternock chat, we've discussed Megatron's iconic sword. Now let's hear your favorite memories of a Hotshot's iconic blaster that he keeps in Optimus's chest.
Oh man, I mean, just like the sword, there's just so many. I mean, the memories are they're just endless. All those moments.
How could you ask me to choose a favorite?
All those times it came in clutch and Armada, his iconic blaster that's shaped exactly like that. Yeah, it makes so. This is, by the way, this gun also has a. This is another one that had like a role play toy, just like Megatron Sword, where you could. It was like a kind of a Nerf gun size thing that made sounds when you shot it. It was called the Matrix Blaster, like it should have been. So I don't know why they call it. I don't know why they said it was Hot Shots. I don't understand how once so many of the dub changes are just like I don't even understand how we got here.
Well, ever since Optimus gave Hotshot the ability to be pants.
That's true.
He's also had access to the Matrix.
He's like, Optimus, thank you so much for giving me the ability to be pants or shirts. I'm going to give you my most beloved and iconic weapon, my blaster. And Optimus said, thank you. I'm going to put it in my chest. And I'll only be able to use it when I'm really high on Energon.
He's just using his safety deposit box at the bank of Matrix.
Yeah, how much other shit does Optimus have in there? You
never really talk about subspace outside of G1, but hey,
it's where Inferno keeps his favorite IPAs. They're all in there. He's got a 6-pack in there. It's where Kicker stores all his games in there. It's very useful.
Sidewinner Sabrina asks, Superlink question: how does Megatron's new voice compare to his Micron's voice?
It's the same, I presume.
And how does Energon Meg's voice compare to Armada Meg's voice? Also the same.
It's the same. Why fix what ain't broke?
Yeah, literally, it's the only good part of the show.
Although, unfortunately, I don't think Megatron ever has a line as good as "You are a freak" in this show.
I don't know. Some of the ones in this one were pretty good.
He does still have the sauce, even when it's.
How can I believe you, Cyclonus, when you literally kicked me while I was down? Is pretty good. Vertigon
I will say about. I forgot to look up, but about Megatron's Japanese voice, he sounds much younger than I was expecting.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from with that.
Because with David Kaye and Gary Chalk, both of them have a lot of bass to their voice. But Convoy and Galvatron definitely sound a lot less like experienced, which is interesting.
Yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah, I don't hate it or anything. I'm just like, it's weird. Yeah. I gotta get used to it.
Werner John Herzog asks, best tower defense game?
Oh man,
I don't play tower defenses, honestly.
I don't either. It's not a genre. I guess the classic fucking Bloons tower defense, right? It's hard to beat the Cool Math Games classic, or whatever the fuck those were on back in the day.
I guess Plants vs. Zombies?
Oh, fuck, never mind. You're right. You're totally right. Yeah, I played the fuck out of the first Plants vs. Zombies.
Yeah. And also, y'all play Transformers Angry Birds? Thoughts? I barely played Birds, never mind Transformers Angry Birds.
I actually did play Transformers Angry Birds back in the day. I don't know if it's still running, but it was like fine. It was like a infinite runner rail shooter pretty much, where you just like shooting into the background at pig fortresses and whatnot. It was okay.
Aurora Energon asks, which Energon characters would Ida be? Who does it as a dare or from sheer boredom/stupidity?
Okay, well, Cyclonus would do it out of boredom, or stupidity.
I think many of them, as provided that there's no Cybertronian equivalent to a bee, which there might be, but provided that wasn't true, I think all of them could be convinced to eat it if they were tricked into believing that it was like an Earth custom.
Jetfire and Optimus can't because they don't have mouths, but everyone else, yes. I'm not convinced. I don't look. Even if Optimus has a mouth under there, I don't want to see it. We saw Megatron's mouth when he first woke up in this episode. I don't want to see under there. You put that
those dusty lips.
You keep that thing covered up, Optimus. I don't want to see it.
Cass asks, which one would eat a slug and die a week later of a parasite?
Ironhide.
I mean, apparently Unicron, since that's what Megatron is.
That is what happened. He is a parasite. He is a tapeworm. Unicron ate a tapeworm and it took 10 years to pass it. I guess that's what happens when you're the size of a planet, you know?
Yeah.
When you're, you
listen, they're millions of years old.
Yeah, you gotta make sure to look before you chomp down on a planet. You gotta make sure it's not got any mold or it's not like weirdly discolored. Gotta make sure it doesn't have a weird smell. But Unicron, he was just a hungry boy.
Where are we in the questions? Oh yeah, Cass also asks, they them allisher? Is this anything?
Sure.
It's everything, Cass, thank you. Sabrina asks, which do you prefer, Star or Night Screams?
Starscream.
I mean, generally speaking, I would say Starscream, but in this show, I kind of want it to be Night Scream, so it's not Starscream. He deserves better than that.
Yeah, like it's actually good that they don't call him that in Superling. He's just like he goes by a different name, so it's not sullied. But Night Scream is like I think there's only one other Night Scream in Transformers, and he's the fucking emo boy from Beast Machines. He turns into a bat. He befriends a dog. The dog turns out to be Megatron. The classic stuff.
Cha asks, which Energon character could you replace the voice of entirely and would either be unnoticeable or improved? Alpha Q, please, for the love of God.
Please. Yeah, don't worry. He is just as annoying in the sub.
Cass asks, can I get Nero's Werner Herzog impression describing item duplication glitches?
What about if I discuss the Omnicons in the Werner Herzog voice?
I think it's on you to chase your bliss.
The Autobots, they take these Omnicons for granted. They work on the Energon. They are the Energon experts, and yet they are not interrogated. Their place in society is not interrogated. They arm the Autobots. They mine for the Autobots, and I think that Optimus Prime perhaps does not realize how vulnerable he is to a labor strike if one were ever to come. I believe that he is suppressing Omnicon class consciousness to support his own Energon mining efforts. Ultimately, I believe he sees them as little as expendable as the Megatron sees his Terracons. These two coins of the same conflict. It is very sad to me.
Fantastic. Where am I? Missing my place. Okay. Aurora asks, what TF weapons would you have your cool Omnicon friends 3D print for you? Well,
Infinite
obviously Megatron's
Sabers.
iconic sword.
Yeah, I mean, they're just fucking giving those things away. And I will say they're giving them those things away because it's better than having the Energon weapons that fade as soon as your Energon star does. Those things seem fucking useless.
Sabrina asks, what would happen if you got stabbed by your own soul sword?
Oh yeah, we forgot to mention the part where Scorponok tries to stop Megatron's resurrection by stabbing him in the spark with the sword forged from his own spark, which to me seems like a bad idea. And
What
it
could
was.
go wrong?
I mean, I would assume I would either die or become more powerful than they could possibly imagine.
Yeah, I think I would die. I think I would have a quick moment of being like, oh, sweet, cool, and then die.
Because it is still a sword.
It is still a sword. Chet asks, is everyone just rocking a clone of Megatron's soul essence now? Does the soul essence actually make the sword stronger, or is it just flavor?
I don't know. I don't know how it works.
And it will never be explained.
No.
So, we're all in this together.
I assume, like, I would assume that it's not, and they're like inferior copies, except that Optimus and Megatron fight evenly with their two swords. So I guess they are identical. So yes, everyone is walking around with copies of Megatron's soul essence.
Sabrina asks, why is the Matrix red?
I don't know. I don't know why anything is happening anymore. Well, I don't know if it's the Matrix or if it's the spark of combination. He calls it the Matrix, but he lost that at the end of Armada. He was like, he felt as though he was unworthy of it. But also, that's where Hotshot's blaster is. So who the fuck knows what's happening anymore? I certainly don't, and the show doesn't either.
Yeah, and also generally speaking, don't ask us to explain anything that happens in the show. We do not know.
We're just as mystified as you are, if not more so.
What flavor is the red Energon that Hotshot gets put into after eating absolute shit? Is it sour cherry?
Watermelon.
I think it's just shit Energon.
It's just fucking Energon runoff.
Yeah.
From like the forges.
Is Star/Nightscream a ghost, spark, or just intangible until he isn't?
I don't know. He's not intangible because they shoot him a bunch.
Except when he is. People.
Yeah, except when he is.
Except when he is.
I don't know if he's intangible or just invisible. I can't fucking tell.
I think he's both. I think he goes back to being both.
He's like a specter who can like make himself tangible briefly, but like he can't keep that form up, which is why Alpha Q's like, I'm gonna get Energon to revive Unicron and make you a body. Yeah,
he's kind of like a wraith with it.
He is basically a ring wraith.
Except that he doesn't want this either.
No.
He's actually quite unhappy about this circumstance. Finally, would you let Megatron give you a Decepticon tramp stamp? What about a tattoo of any kind? No, that shit hurted.
Yeah, it looked really, really painful. Like, after beating Scorponok so bad his face swelled up, tearing off his tail, breaking his arm, Megatron brands him with a Decepticon symbol.
It's like the equivalent of getting your ears pierced at Claire's.
It's like the equivalent of getting your ears pierced with a like one of those things they use to kill cows.
Don't do it.
Seems bad.
Okay. Nero from Disney Minus asks, since this version of Starscream is technically more in line with a typical Starscream than
not. I just said they brainwash him into being Megatron's perfectly loyal little guy. It's so sad.
How would you reintroduce Armada Starscream into the TF franchise? Would you give him a new name but same personality? If so, what's Starmada's relationship with the Starscream of that hypothetical series?
Okay, I wouldn't. If I was making a sequel to Armada, number one, I would not make this show and make a better one. Number two, I don't think I would bring Starscream back, at least not permanently. Like, maybe I would have this arc, but have him fade away at the end. I certainly would not do what they do to him. I don't know. It just seems like a real bad idea.
I think Starmada would have a very bad relationship with any Starscream in this show.
Oh yeah. He's literally a shade of his former self.
How do you induct your new son into your family? Hazing, tattoos, both, a secret fourth option? Well, I kept him in a contained pen for the first 3 days, with his litter box and food in there, so he could just get used to my home. And then I closed off my bathroom and any doors that I could and let him out for a few days. He'd hid under the couch mostly for that. I eventually got him out with some tuna go-gurts, and then after a week or so, he had free reign of my apartment.
Yeah, I carried mine home in a box. I had to get him used to the dog, but they got used to each other pretty quickly. Bought him a cat tree. He'd lived with people before, so he was actually pretty comfortable moving into the new place. He didn't really have like an adjustment period. He kind of just got right down to it. He yells at me when I take. He yells at me when I take a shower because he likes to play with the water.
Mine does not. Would Kicker be better for you if he became possessed by Gen 1 Starscream's ghost for the rest of the series? Gen 1 Starscream's ghost would instantly improve the series by like 5 times, no matter who was possessed by him.
Yeah, it would overwrite Kicker's personality, so yes, it would be better.
Which character from a past covered series would have the best time of their life if they got isekai'd into Energon, and who would see their new life as a living hell? Would anyone enjoy this?
Are there any like combining perverts who really like to combine with other people? Because they'd have.
Maybe
time.
Tarantulas.
No, he's just I don't know. He would never want to like share anything.
That's true.
He's mostly just a pervert. Whoa, hello.
What was that?
My internet has been a little strange.
Oh, okay. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Anyway, Tarantulas would not enjoy it because he is just a pervert and does not like combining with other people.
I guess maybe Prowl.
No, he would hate it. Everyone is dumb as fuck. He would be
yeah,
so
this is
aggravated.
Prowl. Here, there you go. This is Prowl's living hell.
Yeah, I don't know anyone who would like it here. Like, what is there to like? What is there to enjoy? There's Energon is an empty world. There's no joy to be found. There is no solace to be had. It's all just ugly animation models sliding around poorly rendered backgrounds and shooting guns at each other when what really is there to have in this world.
That one got a little Arnold.
It's really hard. You gotta keep it. You can't slide too close to Arnold.
Yeah.
You have to keep his more affect of this sort of thing.
Slipstream Sam asks, with a quintessence apparently seeing Starscream as a great enough being to be called the Great One, who the hell is on Starscream's PR team and how hard have they been working?
I think Alpha Q just has bad intel.
Yeah, first of all that, and also second of all, we're acting as though like Starscream makes out well in this series. He does not.
Maybe he was confusing Starscream with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. That's the only explanation I can have. Because look, Armada Starscream is a fine fella. I would not call him the Great One.
Ruby Road Rage Ruby asks, "Hey, we've noticed how in the beginning until Megatron, like none of the Decepticons get new characters designs, just repaints. What the fuck is up with that?"
Well, I mean, they eventually do, but there's a weird disconnect where, so basically every returning Decepticon gets reformatted into a new body at some point, and all of those new bodies were meant to be new characters, but Takara decided that they just wanted to, like, make them the same as the old characters. So that's kind of where you get that stuff. As for the repaints, I don't really know why so many of them hung around. I mean, I think actually it was probably to pad out the early toy line, which is weird because over here in the States, all of those Armada repaints, I think other than Tidal Wave, were all KB Toys exclusives. So they were pretty hard to find. And in fact, I think they were KB Toys exclusive towards the end of Energon. So it's all a strange, kind of a weird situation.
And our final question this week comes from Chet again. What kind of things is Megatron carrying in his big ass backpack?
Snacks, Stanley Cup,
just a lot of rage.
Yogurt, trail mix,
those hands,
Scorponok's tail,
Scorponok's dignity.
Yeah, Yeah, that's where Scorponok's dignity went. Yeah, he does have kind of a, like many Energon character designs, he's got a big ass bulky like thing hang off his back. These characters, we've talked about the like fandom word of kibble before on this show, right? Of the like phenomenon of just vehicle parts hanging off of characters in robot mode. Because this show and this franchise in general has like some of the most egregious kibble in the entire like Transformers franchise as a whole. But he looks pretty good from the front. And, you know, so is there really anything else that matters?
Yeah.
Well, we've been Prime Cuts. You can follow us on Twitter at Prime Cuts Pod, and hit up our podcast network Noisepace.xyz for all sorts of delicious and cromulent podcasts covering a wide variety of different topics. All of them probably much more pleasant than Transformers Energon. Well, I say that, but Zero to Zero recently watched the Flash movie, so that's probably worse, like on a whole. I'm Nero. You can follow me on Twitter at Dragon Smoocher, on co-host at Dragon Snuggler, and on Tumblr with Cyclonus at Cyclonus with a 5 at the end of it. I've got 2 of the projects, Talk Cycles and Radio Free Heidelin. Both of those you can find on co-host by searching up those respective things.
I'm Audrey. You can find me on Tumblr, Twitter, co-host, and Blue Sky Optimum on Prime. That's my funny robot internet joke. You can also listen to the other podcast I do. It's called Pot of Greed. And it's about Yu-Gi-Oh! I've also been cast in a radio drama called The Disappearances of Lydia Fontaine. It is about a girl who, after her parents' mysterious disappearance, a bookish teenager and her weird friends struggle to survive the feud over her supernatural inheritance. I play a suburban mom. You can learn more about it by going to lydiadisappears.com, and where you can listen to the pilot right now. And you can also sign up for our mailing list to get more information, including about our Kickstarter, which will be live the day after this episode goes up. It's a really cool show. Listen to the pilot. I think you're going to like it. If you do enjoy it and you want to hear more, you can help us make that happen by donating to that Kickstarter. Or not donating, investing in, I guess, is the right word for that. You know.
Well, gang, until next time, I am going to wiggle my snake-like body in an extremely undignified manner, detach Unicron's head to get away, transform and roll out.
I'm going to literally kick someone while they're down, transform and roll out.
We forgot to talk about how Kicker literally kicks Optimus to try and wake him up from being dead.
He sucks so much. Peach.
Transformers, more than meets the eye. Transformers, more than meets the eye. Transformers, robots in disguise.
Transformers.